The sun began its descent, casting a warm golden glow over the picturesque town of Crestwood. Its quaint streets, adorned with vibrant flowers and lined with charming homes, radiated a sense of peace and community. Neighbors exchanged friendly greetings, and laughter filled the air, carried by a gentle breeze that rustled the leaves of ancient trees. In the heart of Crestwood's town square, George Hamilton, a figure cherished by all, walked with purpose. His warm smile and kind eyes brightened the lives of those he encountered. George had dedicated himself to the betterment of Crestwood, using his influence and resources to uplift the community. Tall and dignified, George was a man of integrity and compassion. As a prominent philanthropist, he selflessly dedicated his time and resources to numerous charitable causes. From funding educational programs to supporting local businesses, George's impact on Crestwood was immeasurable. His benevolent spirit touched the lives of young and old, leaving an indelible mark on the town. In the eyes of the townsfolk, George was not just a benefactor, but a friend, a confidant, and a symbol of hope. He attended community events with unwavering enthusiasm, always ready with a kind word and a listening ear. George's generosity knew no bounds, extending far beyond financial contributions. He offered guidance, mentorship, and a genuine belief in the potential of every person he encountered. However, amidst the admiration and gratitude, a shadowy figure had fixated their gaze upon George. Motivated by dark intentions and hidden motives, they watched from the periphery, consumed by envy and resentment. To them, George represented everything they could never attain: success, respect, and the adoration of an entire town. From a concealed vantage point, the figure observed George's every move, their eyes cold and calculating, their hearts seethed with malice, driven by a desire to extinguish the light that George emanated, plunging Crestwood into darkness. Silently, the figure prepared their weapon, a sniper rifle, a tool of destruction that would disrupt the peace George had tirelessly fostered. Their fingers caressed the cold metal, a tangible connection to the impending act that would forever alter the course of Crestwood's history. Time seemed to stand still as the figure lined up their shot, the crosshairs of the scope fixed upon George's unsuspecting form. Crestwood went about its evening routine, blissfully unaware of the impending tragedy that loomed over them. In a moment that would forever shatter the town's tranquility, a single shot rang out. The deafening crack echoed through the square, momentarily drowning out the laughter and conversation. George's body jerked, his expression twisted in disbelief and pain. He fell to the ground, life slipping away from him like a fading sunset. The once joyful square erupted into chaos. The sound of George's fall met with gasps of shock and cries of anguish. Panic spread like wildfire through the townsfolk, their haven of peace and community abruptly shattered by this act of violence. George, the beloved figure who had brought light and hope to Crestwood, now lay motionless, leaving behind a void that would forever haunt the hearts of those who knew and admired him. The echoes of the gunshot faded, leaving behind a somber silence that hung heavily in the air. In the wake of George Hamilton's tragic fall, Crestwood stood in shock, its once thriving heart now gripped by sorrow. The townsfolk gathered around the fallen figure, their eyes filled with disbelief and grief. Detective Michael Roberts, a seasoned investigator driven by a relentless pursuit of justice, arrived in Crestwood with a heavy heart and a determined spirit. The urgency of the case had propelled him to journey to the small town, leaving behind the familiarity of his own jurisdiction. Michael had sensed the weight of this crime, the importance of bringing justice to the beloved figure that Crestwood had lost. As his car rolled through the outskirts of Crestwood, Michael's mind churned with thoughts and questions. He had been drawn to the town by the urgent call for his expertise, his reputation as a skilled detective preceding him. The details of George Hamilton's assassination had struck a chord within Michael, igniting his sense of duty and propelling him towards Crestwood. The road stretched out before him, each mile bringing him closer to the place shrouded in grief and uncertainty. The anticipation weighed heavily upon Michael's shoulders, a silent reminder of the task that awaited him. He knew that uncovering the truth would be no easy feat, but he was prepared to face the challenges head-on. Finally, the familiar landmarks of Crestwood came into view, their presence a mix of comfort and urgency. Michael's gaze swept over the picturesque streets and charming houses, his mind focused on the task at hand. The town that had once exuded a sense of serenity now bore the scars of tragedy. Stepping out of his car, Michael took a moment to observe the scene before him. The square, usually bustling with life and laughter, now stood frozen in grief. He could feel the weight of the townsfolk's sorrow and the gravity of the investigation that lay ahead. As he approached the perimeter, Michael's arrival did not go unnoticed. The townsfolk cast curious glances his way, their eyes filled with a mixture of hope and apprehension. They recognized the arrival of a seasoned detective, placing their trust in his ability to bring justice to their fallen figure. But amidst the crowd, two familiar faces emerged: Sarah Turner and James Monroe, longtime colleagues of Michael. Their presence in Crestwood was both unexpected and welcome, a reminder of the bond they shared and the shared pursuit of truth. Sarah, a lifelong friend of George Hamilton, stepped forward, her eyes filled with both grief and determination. "Michael, I'm glad you're here," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We need your expertise to find out who did this to George." James, a seasoned detective whom Michael had worked closely with in the past, stood beside Sarah, his expression mirroring the somberness of the situation. "We've been gathering evidence and interviewing witnesses," he added, his voice steady. "But we need your insight to make sense of it all." Michael nodded, a resolute expression etching itself onto his face. The reunion with his trusted colleagues brought a sense of familiarity and strength. They had faced challenges together in the past, and now, in the face of Crestwood's tragedy, they would unite once more. Together, Michael, Sarah, and James formed a formidable team, their collective expertise poised to unravel the mysteries surrounding George Hamilton's assassination. With their arrival, the investigation would take on a renewed sense of purpose, the pursuit of justice fueled by their shared determination.